Hi everyone, welcome to another Yarn Scrap Friday crochet tutorial with me, Laura. But can I just grab your attention and let you know about my new embroidery YouTube channel where I teach embroidery stitches. So I'll put the link in the description below if you would like to learn embroidery with me. But in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make these teeny tiny little beer glasses. So another little sort of miniature food and drink project. So let's begin. Okay, so for this tiny beer, we're going to use 3 colours. We're going to do a sort of a creamy white colour, a light grey colour, and a golden yellow colour. Now these yarns are a sport baby weight yarns. It's a yarn weight of 2. And you can use any yarn that you like, but I recommend trying to use this weight or similar so we get it nice and small. And with that, I'm actually using a 2mm crochet hook. You're also going to need a pair of scissors and a yarn needle, which I've lost. Where is my yarn needle? There we go, a yarn needle as well. Okay, so let's begin. Now we're going to start off with the grey at the bottom, and I recommend doing the magic circle, magic ring technique. It'll just make a tighter circle. You can use the chain 4 method though if you want to, but we're just going to do a magic circle. So what I like to do is create a little starter stitch, like a little chain 1, and we're going to work 8 single crochet into a magic circle. Now if you prefer the chain 4 method, then just work 8 single crochet into a chain 4 loop. So this pattern's in US terminology. So in UK terms, these are double crochets, and we want 8. 4, 5, 6. I can pull my loop a little bit. And if you'd like to learn how to do the magic circle, magic ring technique, I'll put a link in the description below to my beginner tutorial on how to do the magic circle. Okay, so we've got 8, 2, 4, 6, 8 single crochet, and pull this nice and tight. We're going to slip stitch into our first single crochet, which is really fiddly. I'm thinking, why do I design such tiny things? Okay, slip stitch into there. So we've got a tiny little circle. And I'm going to just trim down the beginner yarn, but don't worry, I can use that for stuffing. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our yellow beer colour. So maybe if you want to do a little Guinness, you could use a black yarn or something. We're going to join that with a little chain 1. So just bring that through, pull our tail end so it's nice and tight. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a 1 single crochet back post stitch around each previous stitch. So this is definitely not a beginner project, I'm afraid, but what we're going to do is go back into the same stitch we just slip stitched into, but we're going to come from the back, which is a little bit fiddly with the first one. It's very fiddly, especially on camera. So just bring up a little loop if it makes it a bit easier. And go into that stitch but from the back, and we're going to move over to the next stitch and then go from the front. You should catch a little bit of yarn on the back, and then we're going to bring the yarn underneath there and work a single crochet. Just going to pull that down a little bit, and there is our single crochet back post stitch. So we'll do the next one. The next one starts in that second stitch where we went from the front, but this time we come from the back, then go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through. If this is really fiddly, you can just work into the stitches as normal, okay, with 1 single crochet in each stitch around. But this creates a nice 90-degree angle, so I shall keep doing this all the way around, doing 1 single crochet back post stitch around each previous stitch, keeping a stitch count of 8. It gets a little bit easier after the first one. Okay, 4. So the very last one, do check you got a stitch count of 8. The very last one will actually have to be worked into the last stitch, but from the back. And then you're going to go into what looks like another stitch, but it's actually your fake stitch, it's your previous slip stitch. So we're going to go into that from the front. Bring our yarn underneath, do a single crochet. Then we're going to slip stitch into our first single crochet to join the round. Okay, so hopefully you got something that looks like this. You see it creates a nice 90-degree angle, so hopefully you can do the back post stitch. Then what we're going to do is, I'm going to do 3 rounds. I'm actually going to cut my grey yarn, so we've finished with the grey yarn. So, okay, we're going to do 3 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So I'm going to do a little chain 1, don't count that as a stitch. Going back into the same stitch you just slip stitched into, do a single crochet. I'm going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, keeping a stitch count of 8. I'm going to do that for 3 rounds. So this is just creating the length of our little beer glass. 3 rounds, okay? Okay, just coming up to the last stitch on the 3rd round, 8, and like all the other rounds we just slip stitch into our first single crochet to join. Okay, so hopefully you got something that now looks like this. We're going to bring back our grey yarn and create a tiny little handle. So we're just going to join the grey yarn with a chain 1, pull your yellow nice and tight. And we are going to chain 5, I think. I did 4 last time, but I don't know, I feel like maybe 5 would be slightly better size. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So chain 5. And then on the seam, right at the bottom, down here, you want to just go under a stitch like this. Just find a little stitch like this and secure with a slip stitch. If my yarn doesn't want to go stringy. So secure with a slip stitch, and then we're going to cut our yarn, and we can cut the yellow as well and just pull that through, and then just neaten up and hide your tail ends. We can knot these 2 together at the top to secure those. Maybe just trim them down a little bit. And then taking some blunt scissors, we can just hide those tail ends on the inside and use them for stuffing. Then hide your bottom tail end as well. So I'm just going to sew at the bottom and secure this in place. A nice pull, and then just hide your tail end, and you've got a little tiny handle. And then we're just going to create the foam on the top. So I'm going to hide my tail ends first and then come back. Okay, so I've used some of the leftover scraps as well for a little bit more stuffing. Tidied up my tail end, and we've got our little handle. I think 5 chains is definitely better than 4. And this one here only did 4, so I think 5 is better. Then we're going to get our white yarn and do the exact same thing we did at the beginning. So I'm going to do a magic circle, magic ring, and if you prefer you can just do a chain 4 loop, do my little special knot, and then work 8 single crochet into a magic circle like I am, or into a chain 4 loop if it's easier. So 8 single crochet, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you've got a few, you can just pull the tail end and add the extra 2, 7 and 8. 8 single crochet, pull that nice and tight, then slip stitch into your first stitch. So 2, 4, 6, 8. It's so small. There we go. Slip stitch into there. Okay. And then you want to leave a little bit of tail for sewing. And what we're going to do is just pull that through. I'm going to trim down my beginner tail end. And taking a yarn needle, we're going to create a nice finish. So to do that, this is the stitch we slip stitched into. We're going to go into the next stitch. Don't pull too tightly. Then going back into the loop, our last loop, just the back loop of it. And give that a pull, and then we get a nice, neat finish. We can't quite tell where our join is. And then we're going to sew this onto the top of our beer glass. So I'm just going to sew this as neatly as I can. So first thing I'm going to do is find a stitch on the yellow, and then find a stitch next to the beginning on the white, and just do that all the way around. Give it a nice pull, then find the next stitch on the yellow, put it nice and tight, then the next stitch on the white. Just do that all the way around until it's sewn on, hiding that tail end. And there we go, then we just sew maybe to the bottom. You can create a loop if you want to make this into a keyring or some earrings or something. I'm just going to sew to the bottom and cut. And there we go, there is our tiny little beer glass to go with our other beer glass. Cheers. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you managed to follow along, and these could be made into key rings, they could be made as tiny little earrings, really cute little project, or even used in a doll's house as well. So, and of course you can sell any of your finished makes from my crochet patterns, but I will see you soon for some more crochet crafting fun. A huge thank you to my Member Plus members on my website. These tutorials would not be possible without you and my Patreon supporters, so a huge thank you to you guys. But yeah, I shall see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.